Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This Saturday is UFC Vegas 58, and in the main event, we have Rafael dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev, and this is going to be my full breakdown and prediction for this fight. Hopefully, we finally get this matchup. I'm really looking forward to this lightweight matchup, but it's been scheduled 2 times before and been canceled 2 times before. Originally, this fight was supposed to happen in like late February. It got canceled because apparently Fiziev had visa issues. I had my speculations on whether or not they just said that because they wanted to move the fight to UFC 272 to try to kind of build up that card a little bit better, because that was a pay-per-view that was horrible on paper as far as the main card. It got moved to UFC 272 because of supposed visa issues for Fiziev. And then like a couple days before UFC 272, Rafael Fiziev got COVID, and then the fight was canceled. They were able to find an opponent for Dos Anjos on short notice. Renato Moicano stepped in. But now we're finally getting this fight. This is the third booking, and I'm really hoping it finally happens. It's only a couple days away. And this is a very interesting lightweight fight because you have Dos Anjos, who's been around for so long. We know his skill set. He's such a great fighter. He's a former champion. And Fiziev has looked amazing, but he hasn't fought the stiffest of competition, and now he's getting the toughest test in his entire MMA career against Rafael dos Anjos. So if you look at the tail of the tape for this fight, you have Dos Anjos, who's ranked number 7 in the UFC official rankings. Fiziev is ranked number 10. Dos Anjos is 37 years old. Fiziev is 29. They are both 5'8". Dos Anjos has a 70-inch reach, and Fiziev has a 71.5-inch reach. So a pretty significant youth advantage for Fiziev, and a little bit of a reach advantage for Fiziev as well. So if you look at Rafael dos Anjos, I mean, this guy has been around forever. I feel like a lot of newer fans don't know him that well, but this guy has 31 fights in the UFC. He's been in the UFC for years before I even became a fan. He's been in the UFC since 2008, and this guy has just fought the who's who in the UFC. I mean, he made his UFC debut against Jeremy Stephens. He fought Clay Guida back when Clay Guida was actually pretty good. He fought Gleison Tibau. He fought Donald Cerrone when Donald Cerrone was good. And I wanted to mention, back in April of 2014, I'll never forget this, he fought Khabib Nurmagomedov on the prelims. I think they were like the headliner of the prelims. But everyone, all the hardcore fans were complaining, like, how are you booking this fight on the prelims? And turns out both guys ended up becoming future lightweight champions. You look at his career, he eventually was able to get a title shot against Anthony Pettis back in 2015 at UFC 185. A lot of people were very high on Anthony Pettis at this point in time, and Dos Anjos went out there and wrecked him, pushed him against the cage, outstruck him, outgrappled him. Phenomenal performance by Dos Anjos to win the belt. Then he defended against Donald Cerrone, who had earned the title shot, was on a decent win streak at the time. TKO'd him in the first round. It was super impressive performance. Lost the belt to Eddie Alvarez. Lost to Tony Ferguson in his prime. Went up to welterweight. Beat Tarek Saffiedine, which is a solid win. Beat Neil Magny by submission, which is a solid win. Beat Robbie Lawler, borderline in his prime at this point. It was back in 2017. Then he lost to Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, got a win over Kevin Lee, then a loss to Leon Edwards, Michael Chiesa, and then most recently he's on a 2-fight win streak, once against Paul Felder and once against Renato Moicano. But what do those 2 wins really mean? Both of them, his opponents were on short notice. I forgot who was supposed to fight him. I think Islam Makhachev was supposed to fight him back in November, and then Paul Felder stepped in, and it wasn't the greatest performance by Dos Anjos, but again, he's fighting short notice Paul Felder, so maybe it could have been more impressive. And Renato Moicano, he beat pretty bad, but again, Renato Moicano stepped in on fairly short notice, so how prepared was he really? And this was a fight where Dos Anjos really brutalized him, and it probably should have been stopped by the corner, the ref, or the doctor, because Dos Anjos beat him so badly, just outstruck him, outgrappled him. Great performance. But if you look at his most recent wins, because he's lost 4 out of his last 7, and if you look at those losses, I've already named the names, but it's all elite competition at welterweight. Michael Chiesa, Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington. And throughout RDA's career, he has always taken the toughest fights. He took the Islam fight multiple times when nobody else wanted it. Unfortunately, they never came to fruition. But Dos Anjos is an absolute savage. A lot of people don't respect him enough. He has 44 pro MMA fights and 31 wins. That is insane. He's a bit of a decision machine. He has 5 knockouts, 10 submissions, and 16 decisions. but the guy's only ever been finished twice via TKO or KO. I think one time was against Benson Henderson, and the other time I can't remember right off the top of my head. It was Eddie Alvarez when he lost his title. But this is a former champion, but he's still highly skilled. I mean, he's getting up there in age, but I'm curious to see if he has one last run in him at lightweight. And if he gets a big win over up-and-coming prospect who everyone is high on in Rafael Fiziev, it would be massive for his career. So if you look at Rafael Fiziev, he only has 12 pro MMA fights. He is 11-1, and he only has 6 fights in the UFC. There's a massive experience discrepancy between these two guys. 31 UFC fights to 6 UFC fights for Rafael Fiziev. His last win was back in December of last year over Brad Riddell. This was a really good win. It was a competitive fight. I thought Fiziev was winning the fight, and then in the third round, he lands a spinning back kick to Brad Riddell and basically puts him out on the feet. It was a spectacular performance by Rafael Fiziev. The fight before that, and this is a fight that gets talked about, and I feel like it gets mischaracterized quite a bit, was against Bobby Green at UFC 265, August of last year. And in this fight, there was such a high output by both guys, and Rafael Fiziev lost the third round. He won the first 2 rounds, started to fade in that third round. Bobby Green won that third round. And a lot of people say, oh, Rafael Fiziev has terrible cardio. But I really believe it was the output in this fight. The output was so insane. He was lighting Bobby Green up early. I think that's the reason that he faded in the third round. Before that, he has a filthy destruction win over Renato Moicano. And, you know, this was such a good win. The combinations he put on him, finished him in the first round. And this was a great win. And if you want to, you know, do some MMA math there, I don't really like that. I don't believe in it too much. But he finished Renato Moicano, and RDA just recently fought him on short notice, and it went all the way to a decision, even though it should have been a doctor stoppage. The only loss in Rafael Fiziev's career was against Magomed Mustafayev. He just got caught in this fight by a spinning back fist. He was hurt badly and finished. But I really believe you run that fight back, you know, 9 times out of 10, I think Rafael Fiziev wins that fight. I think it's just one of those things where, you know, he got clipped, he got put out, and he got finished. But I don't really think, and again, that was back in 2019, so that's 3 years ago. I believe Fiziev has improved vastly since then. But it's one of those fights where, okay, we can look at it. It's his only loss in MMA. But I don't think it really tells us that much, especially considering it was 3 years ago. So when I look at this fight, I think this fight is a typical grappler versus striker matchup because Rafael Fiziev is an elite level striker. I mean, he is just so good on the feet. He mixes in his kicks so well. He'll go to the body with his kicks. He'll chop the legs. He'll look for spinning back heel kicks to knock you out. And then you have Rafael dos Anjos, who has very good striking. But I think, you know, the game plan in this fight for Rafael dos Anjos is to come out, push Fiziev against the fence, take him down, beat him up in the clinch with some dirty boxing, and win the fight. And I think that is a path to victory for dos Anjos. But outside of that, I don't see a lot of paths to victory for dos Anjos. I think he has to out-grapple him and win by decision, just outpoint him. And maybe, you know, maybe in the 4th or 5th round, if Fiziev gets tired from all the grappling, trying to get up, I think that maybe dos Anjos could finish him maybe with a submission in the late rounds. But I think Fiziev is going to try to keep this fight standing, obviously, and try to outstrike dos Anjos and put him out. And I think this is a very compelling fight because we really haven't seen, everyone always says this with every prospect coming up, you know, how are they going to do when they face a wrestler? Now, I don't necessarily think Rafael dos Anjos is a wrestler. I think he's a guy who was very well-rounded. I wouldn't consider him a striker or a grappler. He mixes it in very well, but he only gets out-grappled by elite level grapplers, Rafael dos Anjos, but at the same time, he only out-grapples guys that have massive deficiencies within their grappling and their takedown defense, and I don't think Fiziev's one of those guys. I think Fiziev showed good takedown defense against Brad Riddell. I think Brad Riddell tried a couple takedowns. I think he might have even got him down one time, and I think Fiziev worked his way right back to his feet, used the cage, and I think in this fight, Fiziev is so technical. It's not like he's over-committing on his shots. So it's going to be hard for dos Anjos to find the timing. I think Fiziev is much faster. I think Fiziev will see the takedowns coming a mile away. I think he'll be able to stuff it, keep it on the feet, and outstrike Rafael dos Anjos. I am going to go with Rafael Fiziev via 3rd round TKO. I think Fiziev is going to get more comfortable as the fight goes. And I really think, you know, this is going to sound crazy. I think Rafael Fiziev could win via decision. I think the guy has good cardio. I think, obviously he's training for a 5-round fight. He's had 3 back-to-back camps for Rafael dos Anjos. I think he's faster. I think he's younger. I just think his striking is leaps and bounds better than Rafael dos Anjos. And I think as the fight goes on, it's going to start slow for him because he's going to be worried about the takedown of dos Anjos. But as he stuffs a couple takedowns, and as maybe dos Anjos gets him down, he uses defense, he works his way back to his feet, I think he's going to get more comfortable in the feet. I think he's going to be beating up the body of dos Anjos. Dos Anjos is going to be getting tired, but dos Anjos has great stamina as well. So I don't think, like RDA is going to get exhausted and get finished that way. But I just think the technical striking of Rafael Fiziev, and he has so much power in, like he's not even throwing these crazy looping shots, and he has amazing power. I think as the fight goes on, Rafael Fiziev is just going to get more comfortable on the feet, worrying about the takedowns early as he stuffs them, as he works his way back to his feet off maybe 1 or 2 takedowns from dos Anjos. I think he's going to get more comfortable on the feet, and I think he's going to find maybe a nasty head kick on dos Anjos, hurt him badly, follow him to the ground, and finish him off in the 3rd round. But don't get me wrong, I could be completely wrong on this one. Dos Anjos may very well go out there, push him against the cage, force it into a grappling match, tire him out, win the fight, just outpoint him. But I just think Fiziev has more ways to win. And it's not like he's going to be overcommitting on shots and then dos Anjos is going to find perfect timing and take him down. And it's not like dos Anjos is one of these Khabib level wrestlers where he's just on you nonstop, taking you down. I mean, he out-wrestled Anthony Pettis. He's out-wrestled, Renato Moicano. But I don't think he's going to be able to out-wrestle Rafael Fiziev in this fight. I think the striking's too good, the footwork's too good, the head movement's too good, the speed. I think Rafael Fiziev has a massive speed advantage in this fight. And I just think it's going to start off a little bit slow with Fiziev worried about the takedown, and he's going to be peppering Rafael dos Anjos with shots, landing some good shots. As the fight goes on, just get a little bit better feeling for the timing of dos Anjos. I think he's going to be throwing nasty body kicks to dos Anjos. And another thing Fiziev does that I wanted to mention, he's one of the very rare guys that just throws nasty body shots with his hands. I mean, I don't feel like a lot of guys in MMA utilize those body shots too much. He does. And I think in this fight, he's going to have dos Anjos thinking, because Fiziev just uses such a variety of attacks. He will chop your legs. He will destroy your body with kicks and punches. And he'll come at you with flashy, flying knees and spinning back heel kicks and all these different techniques. I think dos Anjos, once the takedown isn't there for him, I think he's going to be playing a guessing game, and I think Fiziev is going to find the chin of dos Anjos and put him away, and I think this is going to catapult Rafael Fiziev right into that title contender discussion, and I'm really curious to see what's next for Fiziev after this fight. But if dos Anjos wins, honestly, he's right in that same discussion, and dos Anjos might be, might have a path to the title. I mean, we got to see how the division works out. You got Oliveira versus Islam probably coming up next. You got Volk potentially moving up. So who knows? And the lightweight division is just so stacked. So you never know what's going to happen after this, but I'm really looking forward to this fight. I'm really looking forward to seeing if Rafael Fiziev can get by a very tough test in Rafael dos Anjos. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, and thank you so much for watching.